Number 9. Kimberly and Michael Edgerton. In 2012, New Jersey woman Kimberly Edgerton, aged 29, started messaging her longtime friend, Nicole Mineo, on Facebook. After some small talk, Edgerton steered the conversation into a line of questions about the whereabouts of her friend's family. Within hours, 25-year-old Mineo's mother called her to say someone had broken into their Park Ridge home and made off with various items including jewelry and laptops. Mineo immediately recalled the talk with Kimberly and communicated her suspicions to the authorities. They went to the home that the woman shared with her brother, 27-year-old Michael, and found evidence directly implicating them both in the burglary. Some of the stolen property was found on the front lawn, while other items were retrieved from inside the house. Michael was charged with burglary and possession of marijuana, while his sister was charged with receiving stolen property and hindering apprehension. In the incident's aftermath, Mineo offered herself as a cautionary example of sharing one's personal information on social media, pointing to the fact that people she'd known for years and trusted had vandalized her home. Number 8. Brett and Brianna Brzezinski, a pair of siblings from the town of Oliphant, Pennsylvania, were taken into police custody in mid-November of 2019 after they'd first fought against each other and then with law enforcement. The initial dispute had started when 27-year-old Brett went to pick up his sister Brianna, aged 20, from work. The woman became angry that her brother's girlfriend was in the front seat instead of her, and a loud argument erupted. Brett's unnamed girlfriend was visibly distraught during the row. Witnesses setting up the town's Christmas tree nearby called 911, believing that the woman was being taken hostage. When the police arrived at the scene, Brett engaged them in a brief chase, during which officers reported seeing a girl hanging with her head out of the car. Brett ultimately got stuck in traffic and, after he got out of the car, attacked an officer. He was, however, taken to the ground, at which point Brianna also charged the officer. The Brzezinski siblings were eventually arrested on charges of assault and resisting arrest, while Brett's girlfriend, identified as a victim in the situation, filed for a protection from abuse order against both. Number 7. Jarvis and Javier Carr. Within 5 minutes of a botched home invasion, a brother and sister were arrested by law enforcement in Orange City, Florida, in March of 2022. Jarvis Carr and an accomplice were invited inside a home on Hamilton Avenue under the guise of discussing a scooter purchase. 19-year-old Jarvis proceeded to hold the homeowner at gunpoint, while the other suspect went and grabbed his safe. The duo then tried to flee by stealing a truck, but were unsuccessful when the owner set off a panic alarm, prompting them to run away. Jarvis then called his sister, 20-year-old Javier, and told her to just drive when she arrived to pick him up in an SUV. A high-speed chase ensued, during which local authorities trailed the siblings with cruisers and a helicopter. Jarvis had allegedly pointed a gun at his pursuers before his SUV climbed a curb and came to a stop in a shopping plaza. Jarvis took off running but didn't make it far, as he was impeded by his Crocs, which ultimately fell from off of his feet. He was arrested and deputies discovered that he'd thrown a backpack containing 40 grams of an illicit substance into some nearby bushes. The man was already out on bond at the time from previous drug possession and armed trafficking charges. He faced a multitude of new charges that included carjacking, fleeing or attempting to elude law enforcement, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and resisting an officer without violence. Javier was taken into custody from the SUV and told the police that her brother had taken over the driver's seat during the pursuit. She was charged with accessory to robbery, fleeing or attempting to elude law enforcement, and violation of felony probation. Number 6. Rayanne and Dewan Griffith. On May the 23rd of 2022, Las Vegas authorities were alerted to a shooting in the 3800 block of Royal Crest Street, near Twain Avenue and University Center Drive. Upon making their way to the scene, law enforcement found 21-year-old Sarif El Amin ill in a crashed car and suffering from a gunshot wound to which he eventually succumbed. Through social media posts and cell phone records, investigators identified siblings Rayanne and Dewan Griffith, aged 21 and 22 respectively, as the main suspects. During her interviews with the Metropolitan Police Department, Rayanne admitted to have been a passenger in El-Amin's car. She claimed that they'd driven back to her apartment, where they saw Dewan and another group of people. Rayanne refused to implicate her brother in the killing, only stating that she'd heard him talking to El-Amin, who was outside his white Chevrolet Camaro, along with 2 other men. As reported by the young woman, the others had allegedly asked to see the victim's pistol, but he declined to show it to them, and then a gunshot rang out. El-Amin tried to drive away but crashed shortly thereafter. Rayanne also told the police that she'd forgotten her phone in the victim's car, but that her brother and the other men later retrieved it along with El-Amin's gun. The siblings didn't provide the police with further information about the incident. They were booked into the Clark County Detention Center facing charges of open murder, robbery, conspiracy to commit murder, and conspiracy to commit robbery. Number 5. Robert and Amanda Larrivee. In the fall of 2012, a female patron of Samuel's Sports Bar in Springfield, Massachusetts, overheard 2 people ripping a television set out of a bathroom wall. She alerted the establishment's manager, who, aided by an employee, locked the suspects inside the women's bathroom. They also found that a TV set had been stolen out of the men's room before calling the police. When officers arrived at the scene, the duo, a man and a woman in their 30s, claimed that they couldn't have been responsible for the theft as they were too busy having intercourse. Their excuse would have arguably been weak enough on its own given the evidence, but further questioning revealed that they were actually brother and sister. Robert and Amanda Larrivee were taken into custody on charges of larceny, while the former was also charged with threat to commit a crime for threatening to beat up an officer. Number 4. Damarius and Bosnia Taylor. Texas teenager Notorious Crabtree was gunned down in late March of 2020 in the aftermath of an altercation involving siblings Damarius and Bosnia Taylor. Earlier in the day, on March the 31st, Bosnia was beaten up in a confrontation with another group of girls and women, of which Crabtree's teenage cousin was also a part. 21-year-old Bosnia then talked to one woman from the group on social media and arranged a second fight. She, Damarius, and 6 other people traveled in 2 SUVs to Meadowbrook Lane, looking to retaliate. Crabtree was visiting family in the area and was outside with several other young adults. Fighting erupted when the Taylors arrived on the street, but it was eventually dispersed following an intervention from Crabtree's father and uncle. Bosnia then reportedly ordered her younger brother to shoot him, and he fired in the direction of Crabtree and his father. The former was struck in the chest and died at the scene. The Taylor siblings were arrested, and Damarius, dubbed a homicidal maniac by the prosecution, was sentenced to life in prison. Bosnia pleaded guilty to aggravated assault and was ordered to spend 18 years behind bars. Number 3. Amy and Adam Palomo. On December the 6th of 2018, a fight broke out between Amy Palomo and Jennifer Loveland in an alley behind the Mint Bar in Torrington, Wyoming. As the latter recounted to investigators, Amy told her, "I knew I'd find you someday," before charging her with a throwing knife in each hand. The 2 women were familiar with each other, but Loveland maintained that she didn't know why Amy attacked her. During the confrontation, Loveland suffered lacerations to her arm and leg before a man accompanying her, named as Juan Gutierrez, tried to intervene. He was then attacked by Amy's brother Adam. At first, Gutierrez thought he'd been punched, but then realized that the other man had stabbed him in the abdomen with a throwing knife. After the siblings fled, the victims were taken to a local hospital and stabilized. A nylon sheath was found by the police at the scene of the stabbing, and some of the knives that it was used to hold were missing. Amy's car was tracked to her last known address, and a knife was found in the back seat. She and her brother were arrested on charges of felony assault. As of the latest updates, however, the case against Adam was dismissed after a key witness refused to testify, while Amy withdrew her previous guilty plea and asked to stand trial. Today's topic was requested by JMoore88, Douglas Chenall, and Jennifer Abate. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Salwa and Abraham Saif Asadi. Law enforcement in Cary, North Carolina, were dispatched to a shooting in the 200 block of East Chatham Street. In July of 2022, at the address they found a man who'd suffered a severe gunshot injury, and he was rushed to the hospital. The main suspects in the incident were identified as Salwa Saif Asadi, aged 30, and her brother, Abraham. Their connection to the victim wasn't disclosed, but the authorities did note that the dispute had been domestic and not a threat to the community. Salwa was arrested first and charged with assault with a deadly weapon that caused serious injuries. 27-year-old Abraham surrendered to the police with his lawyer present 2 days after the shooting. He was charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill or inflict serious injuries, and his bail was set at $50,000. Number 1. LaTanya Doherty and Eddie Yadow. A pair of Florida siblings was jailed in the summer of 2017 after a food fight turned violent. LaTanya Doherty, aged 24, and her older brother, Eddie Yadow, were arguing at a home in Vero Beach over disciplining the former's child. At some point in the dispute, Doherty threw frosted cupcakes at her brother, hitting him in the arm and chest. 30-year-old Yadow then wiped the frosting from his body and his sister's hair and kicked her in the stomach, even though he knew she was 4 to 6 weeks pregnant at the time. The fighting continued, with them launching cans of food at each other before deputies from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office arrived at the scene. Because she'd thrown the cupcakes, thus triggering the brawl, Doherty was arrested for battery domestic violence. Law enforcement deemed that Yadow's reaction had exceeded a reasonable response in self-defense, and he was charged with aggravated battery. He remained in jail on a $10,000 bond, while his sister was released after posting her $1,000 bail. Thanks for watching. If you were given the option to clone yourself, would you do it? Let us know in the comments section below.